All right, we're recording. Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello.
Hello.
I feel like we're less enthusiastic
Welcome you.
from
I mean, we are,
Mercury retrograde
but we
got
will
us.
just say it sure did.
It got us. But welcome, y'all. I'm Lady Emerald.
Welcome back, Liz Flo.
Right. Hello to all of our old listeners. And hello and welcome to our new listeners. I'm Lady Emerald, Hoodoo Two Head Conjurer, astrologer, counter maker, like historian, scholar, all a bunch of things. A multifaceted Black woman. Join here, my co-host.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Liz Flo. I am a poet, overall genre blending writer, Afrofuturist, Libre Futurismo focused. I am of the Caribbean diaspora, Puerto Rican Nation. Voodoo is coming for me, so that's also happening. Um, your tarot, crystal, astrology
Mm-hmm.
provider.
Yeah.
I am your crystal plug.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, we are
Mhm.
here finally after a break for season two. For season two of
Mhm.
Astro in Black. And we're here with the season one recap. So before we really jump into like the craziness of season two, because we got a lot lined up for season two, we want to
A
like
lot.
recap season one because like we be knowing. We be
Mhm.
knowing. Like
And we be right.
so much of what we talked about in season one regarding Pluto and Aquarius in Neptune and Aries has already come into fruition. Like, and
And this is just the beginning.
yeah, I think you said yesterday, expect at the beginning and the end the craziness to begin. Um,
Yeah.
cause yeah, I'm still so surprised at how much crap has happened. Like we knew it was gonna be crazy, but like for real, you know?
Of intensity.
Mm, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, just like I said in our previous recording, I think we feel things the strongest in those beginning degrees, and then that in between feels like the integration
Mm-hmm.
period.
Mm-hmm. And
I'm like, am I frozen? We're working with Mercury here, so if anything lags, bear with us.
yeah, our show was like, oh man, we did so many tests. Like y'all, we recorded this whole thing yesterday. That the audio was like crazy, and then we just did a
Yeah.
series of tests, and everything was beautiful. And now we're actually recording for y'all. And now it's like, no, let me glitch again.
Yep.
Let me. I blame AI.
You know how it is.
I'm gonna start blaming AI. I'm gonna start blaming these
You
data
know what?
centers. I'm gonna start. I'm blaming everything.
I mean,
But
it is a great Pluto in Aquarius segue.
listen, I so like on like the re-listen of for our Pluto and Aquarius episode, which was like the first episode of season one. Like we came out swinging with Pluto
Mhm.
and Aquarius,
Mhm.
and one of the things like I emphasize about Pluto and Aquarius, if you're going to equate AI to Aquarius, which I disagreed with, um like the AI was not going to be successful if it did not have a humanitarian basis, right? And we kind of see already the AI bubble
Mhm.
busting because, and we say AI, we really mean like generative AI and like robots and stuff. Like it's already busting, because Aquarius says like it has to have a humanitarian effect to it, and Aquarius is innovation. It's not necessarily technology, right? Aquarius can be like
Mm-mm.
innovation of language, but language and technology really belongs to
Ooh,
Mercury. It belongs to Gemini in partnership with Virgo when Virgo wants to step in, right? Like it belongs to Mercury, the trickster. Like
yeah. Ooh, the fact that you also said Mercury also is like there's this disconnect between like almost the over focusing of innovation in Aquarius when it should be focused on Mercury, because Virgo would look at those at those little details
mm-hmm.
of like, who is this affecting, why is it going this way, why are we affecting the environment, and all of those things, and that is missing.
Oh,
There's no
absolutely.
grounding aspect to AI.
Absolutely, because I still giggle every time I think about Google making its AI named Gemini, and I said, why would you do that? Because you
That's
quite
a
literally like
choice.
naming something based off something also gives it that energy. And as a Gemini sun, I
Yep.
too will lie to you just for the plot. Just for the plot, just to see what happened. Just like Google Gemini would sit there and lie to you. And I'm like looking at like and so many of us who are experts in our like fields or whatever, I like one day was just like Google, like I quite literally like Google like certain things like I knew for sure, and I looked up what Google Gemini
Hmm.
said, and it was just like wrong. And I'm just like, this is just for the plot, right? Like this, I mean it's getting
Yep.
better, but like I would have never called it Gemini because I whoever their astrologer is, Google, you need to fire them because
You have
they
a pop astrologer.
they have something. I don't know what they have. I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know because like I just wouldn't have done that. Like I'm looking at Samsung like why would you, I don't know what they named their AI, but I was like, why didn't you name it Universe? You have a Samsung Galaxy, so outside of Galaxy, and you're trying to say everything. Why would you not name it Universe? I don't know what was
because
the
they done fired
fumbling.
everybody. Listen, these companies have fired everyone that would have asked the right
No,
questions
for real.
in
Like
order to keep putting money into AI. And this is what y'all ended up with.
no,
Foolery.
for real. Cause I like we've always been introduced to some type of AI, right? Because no, everyone used
Mhm.
to love the paperclip from Microsoft, right? But now it's not longer the
Yes.
paperclip. It's just the spell check and stuff. So it's the same thing, but it's not as fun. And then there was Cortana, which we still have. She helps
Shout
us
out
search
to
our
Halo.
like she still helps us search our documents and everything. And but now they have like Copilot, and I'm just like, why do you have Copilot? You already have everything. It's a waste of my time because every time my
It's
computer updates, I have to like unenable it. Like you're doing too much. And like Microsoft
yeah.
Bing had their own AI before everybody that worked really well. That was very, you can tell whoever
Mhm.
helped them do their AI for Microsoft Bing if you like use like Edge or anything, because as soon as the
Mhm.
summarize thing, it also like links you to where they get it from, right? Very scholarly. They were doing that before,
Right.
like 2 years before anybody else
Yeah.
was. And it's just like
Yeah.
Microsoft, if it's not broke, don't
If it
fix
ain't
it.
broke,
You were
what you
fine. Like you already had all the tools. Like wrap it up.
yep.
Wrap it
And
up.
now nobody wants to use the new Outlook. Stop asking me if I want the new Outlook. I don't.
I don't even know what that look like, to be honest, because I changed myself back to the old Outlook. That was confusing enough. The thing with Outlook,
Classic. Thank you so much.
Outlook has a lot on it. Like people who know how to use Outlook love it. The rest of us would be like, hey,
I do.
like
I do.
I'm trying to integrate all my
For
emails
work.
into like Outlook, like everything Lady Emerald go through that because yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I knew a couple years ago. I said don't trust Google too quick. Anyways, um,
I feel that. Yeah, we know we see the non-Aquarian things that are happening.
but like, what do you think about the robot? I don't know if you saw on the timeline, the robot supposed to like humanoid
Yep,
robots supposed to help and come into your house. I'd be like, did we not learn from our robot? There's literally a movie.
that tells you what is going to happen. It's weirder to me, I think, because some of the discussions around it is like there's somebody remotely working and connecting
Oh
and
no, not
helping
using my
you
business.
through the
Oh
robot,
no, ma'am.
and I don't like that.
No, ma'am.
I don't I don't even want anything that looks like a person that isn't a person in my house.
Do you hear me? It's a reason. No, I was going to go on to the wolf side. It's the reason why sometimes your certain spirits appear to you as human form because they already know the business. Let's not. Let's, I'm just gonna leave it at that on the woo side of
If
things.
you know, then you know. Because
Listen,
yes, I agree.
I like even like
But
we
even I also think Pluto in Aquarius is this all spiritual warfare as well.
Pluto
Like if
does rule the other
tinfoil,
side.
tinfoil hat. I'm
Okay,
just
let's
saying.
go.
It's the season.
Uh,
It's the era of the tinfoil hat where everyone starts realizing that a lot of these conspiracies are actually true.
They're
Because
based in
I've
some
also
type of
seen
truth.
on like Twitter some some may go too far and some don't go far enough. That's hey.
I mean, yeah, think about it, like Pluto rules death and transformation, and I mean Pluto is just power dynamics period, right? Like transmutation,
Right.
power, destruction, abuse, oppression, secrets,
Mm,
taboos, like. And so we think about like Pluto in
mhm.
Aquarius, like what are we transforming and being innovative with? What are we talking about as far as power dynamics? um and so it's just, I don't know. And Pluto also rules fascism.
Ooh. I would also say Pluto can be the hoarding
Oh,
of
absolutely.
things.
Yeah, so hoarding of whatever we want to say Aquarius is, hoarding of, I mean, it goes back to um about the Pluto and Capricorn thing. And like Pluto and Capricorn
Mhm.
really gave way to like the hoarding of wealth, and like gave way to like
Yeah.
the generation of billionaires that we're trying to like get now. And like you kind of saw people
Mhm.
selling a lot more stuff um of things that should not have been sold for money, for currency. Because
Mm,
like Pluto and
mm.
Capricorn, it's just, I mean, Capricorn period, I think Capricorn during Pluto and Capricorn became the sign known for like money and wealth, when Capricorn is just resources. And so when the resources became like
Right.
our attention, which is like through social media or the hoarding of that wealth, because I saw
Mhm.
some lady saying about like the purpose of the rich is to hoard the resources and to like then tell
Right.
you then tell you and then sell it back to you for a buck, like. And I'm just like, that is such what has been happening during the
That's real.
2000s for the Pluto and Capricorn. And now we have like billionaires that should not exist
Mm.
at all. And so
Over no, the and what it is like they hoard resources and sell it to you as convenience.
yeah. And then I saw someone saying like Pluto makes small things big. And I thought that was so interesting
Mm,
when we think about Pluto as a small planet that represents generations. And
right.
so, and I it was just so interesting when they said that. And plutocracy talks
Mm,
about the time of the wealthy. And
mm,
so I think it's just, I don't know. I think Pluto is way more important, although like astronomers are like, it's a dwarf planet. But I think just even thinking
You
about
lie.
think about Pluto as like a power dynamic planet, it means it means so much. And it partnered with Uranus and
Mhm.
Neptune, revolutions upon revolutions in certain regards.
Yes.
In certain regards.
Yes. And
So
we're going to see that. Yeah, we're going to see that. And I think part of it is like the combination, the bridge between Pluto and Aquarius and Neptune and Aries leads to the school of thought and people versus government through these schools of thought.
because
And we're starting to see that.
oh,
Yeah, go ahead.
oh yeah, because I mean, going back to that connection, a school of thought and people against government. You think about democracy and talk about like partisanship. What does the parties look like now? Are we going to see more independent? Are we going to see um more things happen? I mean, we saw with the elections last night. People still came
Mhm.
through, even with like not a
Yep.
big voter turnout. There were seats that were flipped.
Right.
People were like, all right. And it goes back
Right.
to like also there are people stepping up to, because I think what has happened traditionally, like we just have not had enough good choices. And I think now it's starting to click over like,
Mm.
oh, we have to get up and actually run for these positions to make the world better. I'm like, yeah,
Right.
it's clicking over. Pluto and Aquarius, we're gonna talk about revolution, we're
It's
gonna talk about
coming.
liberation. We are the
Right.
actors, you know. So, yeah,
Yep.
I don't know. I think it's like
Yep.
pretty huge. Because I know like
Major.
Mississippi, I think only had 15 to 20% of their voter turnout, and like flipped Senate, like
Wow.
flipped some things in Senate, and I'm just like,
Nice.
good job. I mean, of course, the news is like talk about all
Yeah.
the other bigger things, but I just want to highlight
Right.
like mighty Mississippi is still around. She's still around. The South is still, the South has always been fighting for itself, like the true South,
Oh my God,
not the white
yes.
supremacy South.
Mhm.
Like, but people have to also invest in it. The money has to be there. Money, baby.
Yeah.
I just think it's so interesting how quickly.
Telling.
Correct. And because like with Pluto in Aquarius and like knowing that Pluto kind of can rule these oppressive systems to get you to
Mhm.
recognize them, and how like more people are saying fascism, is saying like this is what this is, and more people are like kind of waking up.
Right.
I think that's also due to Neptune and Aries. We're out of Neptune and Pisces. They had us having a
Mhm.
cloud and believe, you know what I'm saying, like over the past 11, 12 years.
It's like I think Neptune and Pisces has been this kind of like falsified hope that everything will be okay if you just ignore it and let other people do it.
If you just believe.
Um if you just believe, or it's also the imagining that it will never reach your doorstep, and Neptune
Mm.
and Aries is like, well, it's here now.
Mhm. Mhm.
What will you do with it? I think Neptune and Aries, it's less fog and it's actual smoke.
Mm.
And so, and we've seen like the literal portion of this, right? The fights and the resistance against
Mm.
um alienation, right? The
Mm.
immigrants, those called alien with this Pluto and Aquarius, and the realizing that we have to protect each other, and what are we willing to do, right? California being on fire, Nepal, we talked about Nepal yesterday, and them getting their government officials up out of there. We have
Mhm.
Tanzania, who is also fighting, and things are being burnt literally in the realization of like, you are trying to basically pull a Neptune over me, and we're
Mm.
not about to do that.
Especially, I don't think people realize like how potent Neptune in Pisces was, right? We had like
Right.
oh my god, I'm gonna have to find the thing that you seen yesterday. But like I also kind of think about like how big religious and spiritual psychosis was. I mean, it still is. I
Mm.
think with the nodes transiting
Still rampant.
Pisces, I think we still
Uh,
know the nodes transiting Pisces with Neptune being back. Neptune is back retrograde. It will go back into Pisces
mm-hmm.
until next year, and because next year
Mm-hmm.
is when all the big planets
Yep.
go back officially
February.
into their new in there to that new
Mm-hmm.
space. But like
Mm-hmm.
I kind of just think about like we had like the Illuminati stuff and we had all the like all these things that has some type of like truth to
Cults.
it. Like, yeah, it has some type of truth in it, but then people were
Yeah.
left, right? So we had like the Mandela effect. I'm like, corporations are
Right.
BSW. They just changed the branding and trademark because they had enough money to erase it. Judgment Day, the Rapture,
Yep.
happened multiple times. The Mayan
Mm-hmm.
calendar, world ending 2012, jumping timelines.
Mm-hmm.
If I hear quantum leaping one more goddamn on time, I'm scream. Like, my God.
Now scientists have said it's real, so you already know.
And but I'm my thing is like,
The scientists are good for
well, I think it's I know it's been there. Like if you read anything quantum physics, but I think it's more of like they can now prove it because it was just theory. Like a lot of quantum physics was
that.
just theory.
Yes.
Now we have the technology to prove it. We
Yes.
know they've been trying to figure out if there's actually parallel universes. They're trying to figure out. I mean, this
Mm-hmm.
kind of nods back to like the indigenous African indigenous of like saying like time folds upon itself. I mean, if you think about how we
Right.
I can't say too much about secrets, but if you think about how like African indigenous people and how we do ancestral veneration, like we can say it
Yep.
through time and space, but we didn't say it was linear. We never said that. We just said through time and space.
No one did.
You
And
know,
linear time was not created by indigenous people. And
mm,
so
it is what it is.
point blank. Yeah.
And it goes back to this whole thing with going back to like the whole alien thing. But there's the
Yeah.
3-eye atlas thing, and people are saying that NASA did they like protocol or whatever, and I'm like everybody else on the internet, does this mean we still gotta pay rent?
I mean,
What that mean voice thing said, like she was like, why would I give a damn if the earth is flat or not? And I got like bills tomorrow. I'm like, come
we
on
don't care.
now. I do not care.
Capitalism is kicking our ass. Are the aliens going to find a way for us to do an alternative? Like, what
And if they trying to
besides
enslave
taking up
me,
space?
yeah, you're never taking my resources either. I will we'll fight y'all before we
No.
fight each other at this point, to be honest. Like I think one thing about
You know that's true.
humans and everything, we will fight like okay, yeah, we may be
We will fight
mad
the
at each
aliens
other.
and then
Right, we may like, but
yeah.
as soon as you say something about us, we all gather together as one Mother Earth human
Mhm.
race to beat your ass. Cause get out, go
And
to the
then
next
go
solar
back to
system
being racist and mad.
amongst each other, like it
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's always funny to me when I think about that. But like when the world is ending, we come together. Besides that, I see you at the Olympics. My country against yours. Let's go. Like
Right.
I think that's
Right.
the most hilarious thing ever. The most
That's fair.
hilarious thing
That's
ever.
fair. That's fair.
And I don't know. I
What
mean, we
else
were
did
also
we
talking
do?
about in the previous episodes about just like the thinking of like immigration and aliens and everything, and like
Mm,
the word using the word alien and how that's just so prominent during or it's going to continue to be prominent during Pluto in
right.
Aquarius, because I think
Yeah.
I think with the mass deportation of what's going on and the moving and migration of
Yeah.
people, everyone is going to feel a little alien in these new spaces, because alien just means unknown,
Mhm.
or the feeling of unknown is not really knowing. And it
Uh-huh.
just sucks. Like, I think Pluto Aquarius is going to make us relook at the terminology that we use for like refugee, immigration, migration. I think that terminology is going
Mhm.
to change to feel more human, because once you say like
Mm.
immigrant or whatever, it's like a negative connotation that comes through. Although, like, oh my god, we're a country full of
Yeah.
immigrants. Okay, but y'all act a fool with, when a person cross a border that's imaginary. Like,
Right.
it's just, I think when we talk about also, especially the air signs, you just kind
Ooh.
of have to always talk about language. You have to talk about language.
Right.
And so I don't know, girl. I do think we are seeing like a nod to
That's cool.
all the previous like revolutions that have made the Western world
Mm.
during this time, and it's quite ugly. It's actually quite ugly.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that there is a mounting um tension that is going on in the Caribbean as well, between um the suffering of what everyone else, the larger powers that be, do to the earth, um and the effects on it, like Jamaica, like Haiti, like Santo
Mm,
Domingo, like,
mm-hmm.
and the natural disasters that are happening, that are alien in themselves, right? Because we
Mm,
don't have markers for a 7 level hurricane, but we know that's what hit Jamaica.
right. I mean, if
That
you
wasn't even a 6.
correct, it's
And so
crazy, and that was the
I
only
think
major one from the
I
Atlantic this year. It's the only one. Hurricanes haven't
it's
been.
one of them. And they haven't been, but when they do, they're going to places that they haven't hit before.
We saw that with Helene. Why is Helene up in the Appalachian like mountains?
Yeah.
And I was in St. Louis getting the residual
And even in
rain.
New York.
Like, what?
Yeah, and even hitting like New York.
Like, these
What is a
hurricanes are
hurricane
getting
doing in New York?
larger. The tornadoes. My God, I see the tornado
Mm.
alley, and me, and my mom is like the weather person of the family, and she was having like big concerns about how big the tornadoes are getting, and we were both
Mm.
saying like so many of them are coming at night when you cannot see anything at night. If you don't know tornado is out there at night until the lightning hits, and it has to illuminate
Oh
the
my gosh.
tornado. Besides that, you feel
Mm.
the air pressure. Those of you who've been in tornadoes like myself, like, you feel the air pressure quite literally changes. The trees do something very
Mhm.
like
It
everything, and
gets
you
very
hear it
eerie.
very ear. It's like a beautiful. I still have like pictures of like a tornado coming into the Memphis area, and you just see the clouds, very
Mhm.
eerie, very beautiful, but it's like very eerie because even how the trees move in that type of wind is different. and
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
because the thing is, like, we have to blame ourselves for it, because, well, we can blame like big corporations for it and everything, because climate change is making
Mhm.
things
'Cause I've been
unpredictable.
recycling since inception, okay?
Let's talk about that. That's true
Where
millennial
are
core.
your bags?
What they've been telling us to recycle
And
since elementary
also,
school.
and like, being from the Caribbean, we reuse
Hmm.
everything.
I think
I went
black
to my friend's house,
diaspora.
and yeah, like, the Black diaspora has been, it's there's a love of the land, and so we try to protect it, right? I went to a friend's house and they had a butter container, and I'm like, is this actually butter in
Butter. Oh, it's
here, or is
a
this something else?
food.
And they're like, no, it's actually butter. And I was like, whoa. a
Listen,
concept.
you ever want to be pissed off? I remember one day I was in high school. This was high school. So it was like 15 years ago.
So you still mad? You got a
I'm
girlfriend.
still mad. I felt it in my spirit. My mama had made like she had made like good, like some
Mm,
good, like baked chicken, pepper hood peas, cornbread. And
mm,
me, I had put it in
mm.
country crock butter thing. Okay. I put it all
Yes.
up, right?
Yes.
Right? Grabbed it, going out. Okay, I get to lunch. People knew that like I didn't eat regular lunch. I ate whatever was for dinner the previous day, like a grown man going to a construction job.
Mm.
Like opened
Hi,
it,
we all
y'all.
eat
Why
that
was
way.
it butter? I was so mad. I didn't bring no money that day for no
Oh
chip juice. If you from Memphis, you know what chip
no.
juice is. But like I was listen. I had to actually go
Mm.
and have someone use somebody else's lunch number because I never knew my lunch number to get a funky chicken sandwich and chocolate milk. Y'all, I don't know what they was feeding us. Like,
Oh
I don't
no.
know, but
What is
like
that? Why were they doing that?
they still do and wonder why the kids upset. They got the bubble guts, y'all. Like, stop doing it.
Everyone is lactose intolerant. Please stop.
Like this is an all black school. Why y'all doing it? Like, God,
Don't
please.
do this.
Like,
Don't do this.
y'all. I be getting flashbacks, and I just be it. So man, that was like 15 years ago. Probably over 15 years ago at this point. And if I sit there and I really think about that. And I'm like, why do we do that? But I mean, it's that's why like these days we're breaking generational curses because some of us are actually
Hmm.
throwing some of the plastic bags away if it gets too much, and we're not
True.
reusing as much, or we get glass versus plastic, and like you.
And now, ooh,
Mm-hmm.
as you say plastic, what about Pluto and Aquarius and the concept and discussion around microplastics? Because I don't feel like we discussed that. We started, at a certain point, but like microplastics to me at least feels very new.
Yeah. So what? So what would we call? Yeah. Hold on. I get my rulership book, and we're gonna see plastics come up there because I know
Ooh,
microplastic is
yeah.
very, very, very new.
Because I do feel like that is Pluto as like breaking down things,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Let's see.
I don't know what rules plastic. That's
Because plastic is
Do I
so
have
new,
anything?
and I think this is the cool thing about it's so crazy. Plastics. It has and plastic workers. It does have Pluto on there. Let's see. Plastic
Haha.
workers, plastics. We got Neptune, Uranus, the Moon, and Pluto. And because mind you, the rulership book
Hmm.
is just it's a foundational. And what I love about astrology, it is a
Yeah.
tool that's ever evolving with the people that use it. Right? I
Hmm.
mean that's the purpose. I don't know if you even stated the purpose of the podcast in the beginning, but like the purpose of this podcast is to talk about astrology from the black lens, from the black diasporic lens, because we've been using astrology. We have our own type of astrology. Me and Liz, we mostly use Western or tropical astrology. And so for
Hmm.
people who are wondering, um, but like that is what we do, and what I like about this relationship book is like maybe it's like, well, maybe this does that. And for like
Mm.
the Pluto and Scorpio generation, because of how the microwave came into play and more freezer foods came into play, we are full of microplastics. And
Hmm.
so I don't know. I to me
It's
plat
also like an STD. I just want you to know that.
you said a STD.
It's Yeah, like it's found in semen.
Oh,
Fun facts to share with
oh,
your friends.
oh, that's
Yeah.
not good.
And that's Plutonian in itself.
You know, that and Neptune, because Neptune also rules Neptune rules viruses. So
I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
mm.
Yeah.
So microplastics. You said it was Pluto, the Moon,
Well,
Uranus, and
it just says
Neptune.
plastics. So they could be like containers,
Maybe.
but
Okay. Okay.
microplastics, I don't know. Like I said, when this book came out, like it didn't have microplastics. Like we didn't know that terminology for real.
Mm.
So,
Right. 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 Hmm.
so any other astrologers out there who figured that out, let us know. Yeah.
Let us know. And also, if there are any cultural things that match up with any of our previous episodes or our episodes moving forward, let us know. We'd like to know. It don't matter where you're from. If you are from the diaspora, we definitely want to hear from you, of any kind. Asian folks, however. Um, so
You
please
know,
share.
microplastics probably is ruled by Pluto because Pluto is making small things big. And so it says even in here, microbes, microbiologists, my even microphones and
Mm.
microorganism and microscopes are also ruled by
Hmm.
Pluto. Of course, it's like also like microscopes are also um pre ruled by Uranus. So, but microcosms is also Pluto. So, I mean, that makes sense about we're going to say Pluto makes
It
small things
feels
big.
very Pluto in Aquarius.
Are we going to
Because
figure out
plastic,
how plastic? Because I'm still trying to figure out. I was like, plastic can be quite durable. So, and we know it does not decompose
it lasts too
quickly.
long.
So, when is someone
How
going to
long?
figure
Wait,
out how to build the structure of your house out of plastic versus wood or steel? Let me know
they're
when y'all
already
figured it
doing
out.
that in like they're already doing it in Mexico, if I'm not mistaken, and parts of Africa.
Period. Because, but also like, it's gonna just depend on the type of plastic. Because sometimes when plastic hits heat, it
Yeah,
releases,
yeah.
BS.
I think it's the process that matters. I think they've been doing um I've also seen plastic made out of cactus, and it's like a
Interesting.
whole there's
Interesting.
things happening. There's definitely things happening. There are huts and things being created
So Pluto and
with plastic,
Aquarius
but I don't think it's the only thing.
is
Yep.
sustainability. Could
Yep.
quite literally sustainability is
Ooh.
truly in a form. I mean, we've already been seeing like nods to sustainability. I know I've been hearing it for years. Um,
Yeah.
with the architecture and public health people, like and environmental and public health
Mm,
and sustainability.
okay.
We've been talking about sustainability for I don't know
And
how long.
business. But business wise, like sustainable businesses, I think maybe in the last 5 to 7 years.
Are people going to finally go and do real economics? We don't know because that's not what's going on
We
now.
don't know.
And with
No.
another thing before we really switch over to fully like diving deep about to Neptune and Aries, one of another things that we
Mm.
really get right, um, with Pluto and Aquarius that we're kind of starting to see a lot more is the ATRs and ADRs,
Ooh,
and
yeah.
capitalism's impact on that, and
Yes.
for sure, and because people are we going to be under a witch hunt? We're already under a witch hunt. We already started to see the
It's
suppression,
been.
right? We already started to see the suppression of like accounts and everything.
Don't go too far. Yeah, I was just about to say, I'm like, don't go too far. A lot of the spiritual accounts, I know mine, if you see it, it's one person too much.
Congratulations.
And so and so for those who don't know what an ATR is, African tradition religion, is that what it is?
Yes.
Is that what it stands
Mm-hmm.
for?
Mm-hmm. And then ADR is African
Yes.
diasporic religion. So those of us on the West. So that's why I say
Boom.
ATR, ADR. I really
Boom.
call all the ADR at this point. I think,
I like, yeah, that's where we're at. Well,
yeah,
that's where you and I are at.
yeah. Um, because like, okay, so with the changing of the world, right? We at one
Mm-hmm.
point, I think at the height of the spiritual practices, especially Neptune and Pisces. A lot of people are doing like getting money from through prosperity workings. And now I'm like, we have to
Mm-hmm.
change it, right? Now we're in Pluto and
Yeah.
Aquarius, so like instead of doing prosperity, especially like read the room. There's not even enough jobs on the market to for the people who are
Right.
unemployed. Instead of doing
Yep.
prosperity for money, how about you do sustainability or how to not do stability work, right? Keep people in
Right.
their homes, keep people in their houses, like in influence mutual aid. Figure out a way to steal the money back from the billionaires. Like I want I want us to see real work again. And it's not always gonna be on
Yeah.
social media. I do think Neptune and Aries is going to help usher in people wanting to be more in person to do the work.
Mm.
And so with
Yeah.
that, and then especially we have to like come to terms with like how much of we put our spiritual systems in connection with capitalism, right? The black churches have to
Yeah.
like this reckoning with that, right? With the
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
infiltration
Mm-hmm.
and the pushback of what's going on. Like I'm black and Greek. Well, okay, I am part of a sorority, and
Like, what part of Greece, girl?
no, yeah, I'm sorry. So I am part of a Black Greek lettered organization or BGLO, right? And historically, the sororities and fraternities have been in partnership with the Black Church to help propel things forward, right? Without the Black sororities, we
Mm.
would not have these initiatives that we have for maternal child health, right? We would not
Mm-hmm.
have so many black and brown folks, period, because we go to everybody neighborhood, and help people get ready to
Right.
vote, tell them what's going on. My sorority, I'm a fighter woman of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. We help, found Latino based organizations to do the same thing we do, but in their own respective spaces. And so,
Mm.
like, there is historically this connection between kind of the mundane and the spiritual and the black church. And the black church in the was very vital, right? And so the black
Yeah.
church was also very used to be very African. Now,
Mm.
as things have progressed post civil rights, I'm not saying that the black church did not have cults and everything, because the Pentecostals, y'all be cutting up. Okay, the history says y'all got the most cults. I need y'all to get together. We know about Kojic in that regard. The Church of God in Christ, or those of us who are in the spiritual space, we call it the Church of God in Conjure because of its beginnings. It's one of the biggest like denominations now. Now, here's the problem with black
Mm.
churches right now is that they have became the prosperity churches, right? Which is the connection to
Ooh,
capitalism.
yeah.
And so I think that is a
Right.
direct spiritual attack on the black church, because if you get the black people who are very human centered, human first, spirit led, ancestral led, rebellious, right? To be more docile, to be more assimilating
Yeah.
to the white evangelicals, which the white evangelicals do not really. That's a whole nother episode. We're not gonna get to that. But what I'm
Yeah.
saying is that
Yeah.
with a lot of people now trying to denounce their black Greekdom and say that I am Christian first, not black, whatever, it's weird. I think it's a direct spiritual attack, and because like in the beginning, the black church could have been considered its own ADR because hoodoo had to hide part of itself in the church from because we were getting attacked for
A
doing our
lot of
own plantation, right? I mean, that's all the
a lot of
ADRs
ours.
had to kind of like
Yeah. A
do
lot of
this
them.
synchronism, right? Like to survive.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're seeing the ADRs, the religions now want to separate the spirit of the religions, now want to separate from the church. I hope y'all caught
And
that.
the demonizing of, yeah, and the demonizing of ADRs and ATRs, right? And
Right.
the demonizing of connecting to the spirit realm if it is not of white bust down Jesus.
Right. With the tour shoes. Like it's crazy. And I
Like,
there's a direct link between that and
It's intentional.
capitalism, right? And I think, I made a
Yep.
comment a couple of years ago on my personal page of like the HBCUs, and it's like over 127 HBCUs in the United States. I said a lot of them who are
Mm.
small and private are connected to in some denomination of a Christian church. And I say in order for them to survive, they will have to come up under the church. Now, people gave me pushback. I said, y'all not ready yet, right? And like, y'all not ready to hear what I'm saying.
Yep.
HBCUs are so important, and they you during Neptune and Aries episode, they were the
We're
original
gonna
school for
see it.
thought, right? It's gonna, but
Yep.
HBCUs
We're gonna see it.
have to transform how they operate. Are you going to continue the status quo in Black conservatism? Because this is something that we have to talk about. Um, and or are we going to really have it as the safe space that they were intended to be? And I think because there is some internal HBCU alum, like, y'all know how we talk, and we're very protective of our stuff, even if it's in the wrong. We've seen since Neptune has moved into Aries, we've seen an increase in bomb threats at HBCUs. Um,
Yeah.
and that's very
It
intentional.
it's very intentional. And I think it's also this combination, right? I think these transits, as much as we try to separate them, a lot of them are happening at the same time. And
Mm-hmm.
seeing Pluto in Aqua happening, the obsession and like the cults that happen
Mm,
that are political cults, right?
yeah.
Um Focused on removing rights, focused on the breaking down of humanity. They're going after all the things that historically have fought back. And
Mm-hmm.
the docileness is allowing for these things to happen, but I don't think Neptune and Aries will allow it to happen for too long.
Yeah, because Neptune Aries says you have to fight for yourself. No one's coming to save you.
Yeah,
I
deadass.
I think the beautiful thing about Neptune and Aries is the allowing of new art forms and new resistance, and
Mm,
yeah, and we're starting to see it happen. I think um people think like making art out of AI is like innovative, and like, no. Neptune and Aries
it's
wants you to be more innovative and leader focused in that, you know?
yeah, it's very much Aries wants it to come from you, right? To have the audacity to be like, what if I do this? And following that feeling without even knowing where it's heading. It's harder to be creative with AI if you already have an idea of what you want to create and it just spits out somebody else's work.
Mm,
There's no transcendence, there's no spiritual aspect to creation when it's borrowed. And
mm.
yeah, some of the things are cool, but like Memphis is running out of water. The
They're
light bills
trying.
of
They're
multiple
trying.
cities,
They're trying, girl.
right? Like
They're trying their best,
the
but we
cities
always
are
fight,
light, yeah, and light bills are going up and
girl.
people are realizing like what is the fucking point of all of this shit if I have to pay an extra $200 on my light bill when billionaires are the ones building these
Hmm.
things.
That makes me
And
think about some things. That makes me think about
mm,
something. Neptune and Aries. I mean, I already knew like Neptune rules waterways, and
right.
you going back, like, for Hoodoo Heritage Month, I did like the Hoodoo Heritage personal curriculum for the Mississippi
Mm,
Valley 901 Memphis edition.
mhm,
And
mhm,
one of the main things I pointed out, because I'm here to guide you. Like, you deep dive into these subjects, I'm just here to guide you. I talked about
right.
the aquifer here, and the AI data centers, they cannot run off of any type of water except for drinking water. And we have in this
Mm,
area here in Memphis the cleanest water in the nation. We have always
mm,
fought, right? Always fought for our water in this aquifer because it's not just us. It's like the this whole part of the Mississippi Valley depends. So there's millions of
mhm.
people who depends on this water. And Neptune and Aries, I wonder are we going to see more fights for water? Like the indigenous people are always fighting for waterways here in the US. But I wonder is
Yeah,
that going to be one of the things that help the people against the government thing? Is water going to be
absolutely.
the center because I mean, let's be for
Without
real,
water, there's no life.
there is no life, and I think something insidious is happening um for the million and billionaires who are pro this. It's like I think a lot of them are I think me I think so not and like I think there's something about wanting to transcend life like into immortality, and so like it's
Ooh.
something there that like
Mm,
with these people who are trying to like either leave for Mars or try to put themselves in a robot or something. And it goes back to why they don't care about water because they're like, oh, I'm about to transcend this anyways. No, you're not. No, you're not. Be for real.
I have so many thoughts about that that probably shouldn't go on the podcast, but fuck it. I also think that we all know science, whomever, everybody knows that water carries certain properties, right?
Mm-hmm.
Certain life molecules, energy, all of it. And I think that is part of not only spiritual warfare,
Mm-hmm.
but, and I have a running theory, which might be very in between both of these transits, of how spiritual attacks are necessary to keep insidious version America going. And it has
Yes.
been since the beginning. It's a
Yes.
series of rituals of sacrifice. And I think that's we're gonna see something coming through
It's the reason why they
in
always
regards to
wage
that.
war. I'm finishing up uh, the indigenous people's history of the U.S., right? And they talk about like the reason why they get to the Trail of Tears, right? That we get to that point in history is because
Yeah.
they constantly waged war, small war attacks. I mean, they do it on their own citizens. That's basically what they're doing now. And it's so
They've done it
crazy
across the world.
across the world. And I think Neptune and Pisces, during the Neptune and Pisces mostly, that transit, we had the Obama administration most of it. And so
Hmm.
that it gave us so much hope in this cloudiness, this illusion that everybody is good, right? I mean, we did
Yeah.
in a certain capacity, like during previous to any current the that man in office administration, the federal government and agencies, the federal agencies are socialist programs. I want us to understand that. And the federal
Hmm.
government kept us together, right? When the state and the city and local levels were effing us over, it was federal that protected. Now it's flipped with Pluto and
Right.
Aquarius. Like it's saying, like, hey, your
Yeah.
powers actually remind you that your power is within you, right? Pluto and Aquarius
Yeah.
originally was the American Revolution, although it wasn't until Neptune and Aries that historians say, like, the United States actually started post Civil War with the addition of the 14th Amendment. And we know that's under attack right now, or trying to be under attack, which is like natural birthright citizenship
Yeah.
or whatever. And so,
Yeah.
you're absolutely correct. I tell people something like spiritual warfare for the United States. It's probably from all countries, but I've only lived here. Okay. So, um, spiritual
Hmm.
warfare manifests in the political systems because when you
I
are
mean,
doing any type of
yes. And I
manifestation,
can speak to
conjuring,
that
it
too.
has to fall physically somewhere. It has to,
Yeah.
whether it's implemented correctly or not.
Everything has a cost.
So I,
Everything has a cost. And even go ahead.
I'm even thinking about,
I'm just
the
looking
Neptune
downloads.
Aries in the Independentistas. That's a long word. I'm gonna start over.
Yes, you
Like
got it
I
though.
Yeah, and like what was going on in Puerto Rico and what's still going on in Puerto Rico. Like,
Right. It is. And that's the interesting thing is like every Caribbean country that my family is a part of, the disruption and the distress that it is going through, you can you can create the line and it always leads to the US.
mm-hmm,
Oh, Haiti's the poorest country. Let's be for real, right? Like we know every time there is a semblance of calibration, the US comes and there's a coup, there's a murder of a president, there is something is always happening. And
you
so
know
the
what?
little wars are the only ways that, what?
That's because the U.S. has a Pluto and Capricorn. It's gonna always go after resources. Pluto and Capricorn. We just went through the Pluto
Always after
return. If we go about the American
resources.
Revolution chart, the July 4th,
Yes.
you know what,
Mhm.
that should have like
Mhm.
downloaded probably years ago at this point. But we were talking about like how we just talked about Pluto and Capricorn and what
But
that meant.
hey,
If we go back to like Pluto and Capricorn in the U.S. chart, of course they're gonna go after every country. I mean, we see what's happening with like their threat to Nigeria. You're not even a Christian country, U.S. Like you never were,
yeah.
and so now you're threatening Nigeria because Nigeria has
And
billions in
Nigeria has
oil.
oil.
Be for real. Be for real. Venezuela. I mean the militarization. I think
Venezuela.
is the military ruled by Aries? Because when I think militarization, I don't know why I think Aries, but like I think we want to see more
It
militarization.
can be. I think the execution of it, we're gonna see a mix. I think the people. I think of like guerrilla, like the guerrilleros
Guerrilla
type
warfares,
wars
yeah.
are gonna happen. Where, yeah, guerrilla warfare versus the militarization and occupation. Right. I'm thinking of Puerto Rico being remilitarized. I'm thinking about
Mm-hmm.
how they're
The current
murdering people in the
occupations.
Caribbean.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And Neptune and Aries to me very much is like using the smoke to your advantage and remembering that being fed up is useful. And I think we're going to see what happens when people get fed up,
I want to
period.
talk about the militarization occupation, and you see the
Okay.
people going
Mhm.
against this. We see the people going against the deportation. We see people going against, and I think we can
Mhm.
learn something from the Civil War. We talk about like guerrilla warfare. It took in the South, right? Yeah, there is this battle called the Battle of Memphis,
Mm.
and Battle Memphis, it happened, of course, is a Civil War battle, and we're talking about tens of thousands of enslaved people escaped, came to Memphis, and joined in the fight with the Union. And that is
Mm.
one of the reasons why Memphis has stayed for majority black until the Memphis massacre and the yellow fever epidemics, when a lot of people left and then it did not
Mm.
become, there's always been a fight for Memphis um to not be as black as it is, but it was one of the main
Mm.
slave distribution sites. It was called the Charlotte of the West, and we know
Mm.
40% of all enslaved Africans in the U.S. came through Charlotte. And so, if you came through
Mm.
Mobile or Virginia, and they were trying to, do plantations in the West, in the Midwest, and whatever, you actually landed in Memphis after you came through those like ports. Or you could have came through the Mississippi and
Mm.
landed right in Memphis, and we still have those streets today. They're downtown. Like we still have a slave haven. Like we still have all of that in the city. And I think about even how now Memphis is like suing the state of Tennessee. right, with the
Mm,
occupation that's currently happening,
mm.
and how that would take, once again, people paying attention to the South. Because people are like, oh, the South should rise again. I
Yeah.
said the South should. I said, when y'all think the South, you think white, but majority of Black Americans still live in the U.S. South. We're still here.
Yes,
We've just
we
been
do.
like, we're still here from Florida all the way up to Kentucky. We are still here and
Still
thriving,
here.
but we've just been like oppressed. Like, we still fight or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I always look at people crazy. I was like, the white liberals, like, the South, one more. You're you are also the South.
The South has never stopped.
You are also the South. Like, as far as lived everywhere across the United States, almost every white person is the South. Period. Because when they people say Haley Williams, in her lyrics of her recent album, "Say the South shall not rise again until it pays for its sins," she's really talking about white supremacy. Haley Williams grew up in Mississippi, then moved to Tennessee and started Paramore. Like, what y'all think she meant and what she actually meant are two different people. And I need people.
And it shows what part of the privilege spectrum you're on.
Oh, for sure. For sure. And it's like, but when you was like saying like militarization and people against government, I was like,
Mm.
oh, during Neptune and Aries, we saw this a lot. We saw enslaved Africans
Yeah.
and even remaining indigenous people aiding in the fight for
Fighting.
freedom. I
Fighting.
mean, like, down the street right
Yep.
now is the Mississippi Choctaw. They still live. I mean, we saw them as centers, whatever. But I'm like, they're still live and well. Like, they're still in their areas.
Yeah.
Here, like,
And also like our own indigenous folks, so sorry, I can't remember what all is here. I know we have like Seminoles, but we also have additional tribes. My bad, folks. But they were the ones who stopped alligator Alcatraz.
yes, yes.
So we're seeing, I think also Neptune and Aries is the first peoples not only leading the way, but being able to get to the way and having everyone else be able to back them up.
Sorry, I am. Oh, I didn't know that the government shutdown prevents alligator Alcatraz from closing. It was the Mukusuki tribe.
Mm,
Yeah, because
Mikusuki. Okay.
they're in the Everglades. Well, they're part of the swamp area.
Yeah.
And
That's their okay.
uh-huh. And yeah, I think that's just so important for us to, because we talk about civil war, but I was but let's talk about what like the normal everyday people were doing and how they aided
Right.
in that. And you have to understand that it takes a small spark. It just That's all it takes. And I
Yep.
mean, even with the intentional breakdown of CDC, public health professionals and previous people in there have started to make public health coalitions in the regions. I think that's a small nod to
Mm-hmm.
like civil war. I'm like, y'all don't actually do that, because the point of the CDC was to stop the fragmentation of information in public
Mm.
health. That was the like, and I have grieved that like we will never see another CDC again. The CDC was in its infancy. Like, it did not get proper funding.
Mm.
It never actually received proper funding. But the amount of funding that it did see, we did not see until the HIV epidemic. So like,
Yeah.
and the restructuring of all the federal agencies. And so like, you're just not going to see that again. So if you see more pandemics, or I wouldn't say pandemics, but endemics or epidemics happening, that's because there's no CDC. I don't want to say the positive thing, but a silver lining to the imperialism of
Ooh.
the U.S. is that you had CDC in all corners of the world. And so not only
Mm.
were they the epidemiologists and the disease interventionists and the microbiome, all those people, those public health professionals were not only there. Oh, US, they were actually training people in those countries how to do the same work they're doing, just in case they had to leave. And that happened with Ebola. Like, it was someone who was trained
Mm,
by CDC there, and it was a nurse, and she was the one to ring the alarm of Ebola in Africa. Like, and so
mm,
it's just like,
mm.
it's also, I think, for me as a public health and policy professional in the mundane world, I also see like the day to day, like, oh, y'all don't
Right,
understand how much we are fucked, and without people standing up and being like, we can make this still happen, so they eventually can come back together versus trying to make it
right.
always fragmented. I said that's why we get into this like predicament today. The United States is fragmented. I'm like, no.
Also, Neptune and Aries with Pluto and Aquarius, misinformation.
Well,
That's what I'm calling it. That's,
we already started seeing that
if
though
we're
with
seeing it,
COVID.
and I think it's going to be a fight between what is an AI video and
Oh my god,
misinformation,
my god,
because it's getting
today.
better. Things are getting, like, the AI created videos are getting better,
I just want
and
people to get
so
offline. Just get offline. Like, get offline. Only follow people that you
we'll
know
have
and
no
trust.
choice. We have no
I
choice.
mean, when
And you
Uranus
had
goes into Gemini
mentioned,
officially, it ain't gonna be no choice for real.
oh, that's what it's going to be. We got to talk about Uranus, because the other thing to that, is literacy. We didn't discuss the issues around
Oh,
literacy,
because you did
which
bring
is
that up.
going to affect us.
So,
Yeah.
crazy thing, I think it was Pluto and Aquarius. Liz did talk about literacy a little bit, and now it's popping up. Like, we be
The-
knowing. I mean, we be like, like ranting right now, but this all goes back to like the things that we discussed and how it has showed up currently.
yeah.
And the next
Yeah.
episode is about Uranus and Gemini and how it's going to really be cash is king. Right, we can talk about the
Yeah.
shiestiness that happened. The Federal Reserve Halloween night gave some of the banks some
Yeah.
bailout, and then now Bank of America is saying that you can't take out a certain amount of cash. Like, they lowered the cash limit
Yeah.
for people in the bank accounts. They see what's coming, right? We are already in a
They know what's
recession.
coming.
They know a Great Depression is coming, and I mean, even the
Check
astrology is
us out. It's
even
coming.
the
Check us
astrology is
out.
even
We're
saying,
gonna be warning you.
stay tuned, y'all. And
Uranus.
we're not
Yeah,
we're not
you're
saying panic. We say be prepared. You already have the tools to be prepared.
stay ready. Stay
You
ready so you don't gotta
are
get
you
ready.
are already building community, whether you know it or not. And I
Right.
think for, we kind of talked about that last night about how Gen Z, like, they don't there's a disconnect between like community. They think that online is community,
In person.
but millennials know like
And it
online is
can
the
be.
first, it like, this is the first spark, but then you go and meet somebody in person.
I will say it's twofold, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, as much as Gen Z doesn't have maybe as much in-person community, we've also seen the children protesting on Roblox. And I think this is where we got to figure out the issue is intergenerational community and the lack
Mm-hmm.
thereof. We
Okay.
need to know what all of the other gens got going on. And we also need to be a part of each other's network so that we can bridge everything together. There
And
is an issue. Go ahead.
I'm gonna say it's happening, but it's happening like a joking way, right? Like, you see a lot of like millennials joke
Mm,
about the differences between all the generations on like online,
mm-hmm,
and but I think that like the babies are
mm-hmm.
taking it to heart. We're like, no, this is just jokes. We're just saying like we know the difference, and this is how we're trying to like communicate with y'all that you gotta go
Yeah,
outside.
very good.
Like Roblox can only do so much, but you have to go outside. Like,
Right.
you have to do that. You have to touch some grass. Like, I think that also goes back to the education. Like, they are part of the No Child Left
Yeah.
Behind, and so they don't actually know the like true history and
And
the impact. And so like they don't. they're missing a lot of the tools that we were the last generation to have because of the change in education policy, and now the Department of Education is under attack.
Right.
Like we'll talk about that later, but I like it's
Hmm.
it's it's
Hmm.
quite interesting. I see when I look at my little cousins and like my little sisters, like there's a age gap with us, and so I'm a millennial, but they're Gen Z, and so I see kind of like, and I'll say something to them. I'll be like, did they not teach you anything in school, and we went to the same high school? What's going on? Like, what is like, what's the
Yeah.
disconnect? And
Yeah.
and it can't just be like Pluto and Sag. Like we know they like that Sagittarius kind of makes them a little bit not as connected, but like not connected like in the physical as much. But like
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, we have like much
We'll
to talk
see.
about. Maybe we do a, like a Pluto
Yeah.
and Sag like episode eventually. Like
Yeah,
season three
maybe for
probably. You
sure.
know.
Um, other things that I have as like notes for Neptune and Aries, abolition.
Yeah.
Um, it's just gonna get bigger and stronger. We also have the result of many revolts prior to the Neptune and Aries Saturn and Aries conjunction. Vaccines and respiratory misinformation, which I mentioned, poisons and viruses, which we're seeing in the foods and FDA things. And then for some reason, I have prayer. Oh, psychic, psychosis, prayer,
Oh my
alcohol,
God.
drugs, and fluids.
The
I
religious
think,
the religious cults are really just the political cults at this point.
yes, they are.
Yeah.
And I also have been seeing, I just saw recently um like a non-lean lean. And I think what will be happening is the alcohol industry will have to rethink a lot of things. It already started, but I think
Mhm.
it's going to progress during Neptune and Aries. So I guess we're here talking about predictions.
Yeah, because I think once Saturn went into Pisces, right? Saturn is like
Mhm.
constricting, and Pisces is ruled by
True.
Neptune, and so we saw a lot of alcohol culture like being in the forefront. We saw like alcoholism. When Saturn went into Pisces,
Mhm.
I started to see a lot more people talk about sobriety, me myself, right? And then also
Yes. Yeah,
you saw
for sure.
alternatives to alcohol, a non-alcoholic or de-alcoholed wine and
Mhm.
bourbons and everything. So
Mhm.
you start to see it, and I
Yeah.
think as you get into Neptune and Aries, and I think you only we're really going to see because Saturn in Aries, right? Saturn is going to go and bring it
Yeah.
in. Like if you can't have control of yourself, like you need get out of town. I did a special
Mhm.
on Neptune in Pisces and opioid abuse, right?
Yes.
Like in it's correlated crazily, but I think we're just going to continue to see that, and we're going to have to like ask ourselves, what have we been numbing?
Ooh.
What
Mm.
have we been numbing?
Mhm.
Because these Aries transits is just going to light it up some more. It's
And
because
Aries
Chiron has been in Aries this like for forever, right?
forever.
And
I don't even know if
so
it's gonna leave Aries, to be honest.
like it I think it's next year. That's why we see
Next year?
yeah, that's it's gonna go
Mm.
on, and that's
Okay.
why we're gonna see the stay tuned for the episode,
Please
y'all.
leave. Please. I am welcoming that. I think Aries, you only have two options. You either run away or you go toe to toe with it.
Mhm.
And
A lot of
um
people have been running away from that Chiron, from their wound with substances, period. I mean, doing Neptune
yeah.
in Pisces, we had opioids and Molly and alcohol and different strands of marijuana. And for some people, marijuana is not for them. No, everything ain't for everybody, and
Yeah.
that's okay. I don't care how much
Yeah.
it was originally good, but once it's been modified, you don't know how it's going to be.
Right.
And that is, yeah, this, and I don't know. I most definitely think, without the help of the public health agencies, the virus stuff is going to go amok.
It will.
I mean, it already is. That's why we have a decrease in food. Um,
Yeah.
Surprise! That's because we don't have we don't
Yep.
have a fully functioning any federal agency. And um, and shout out to the federal workers who are still working without pay because they care that much about their jobs. And they care about y'all. Shout out to USPS for still doing for delivering mail. They don't have to do that. They're not getting paid.
That's
They're like,
crazy.
oh, my boss said they don't have to listen to them. Like they're not getting paid. And so I just think we are
I
seeing a
wonder if there
lot.
will be a actual people not going to work.
I have been asking about this since I get into the public health field. I'm like, hey, there needs to be a thing where like we just don't go to work. If your city is important to the structural, the economy of the United States, everybody in that city, majority of the people in that city need to decide one day not to go to work. Don't go to that
Right.
workhouse. Don't see. This is why I be getting in trouble now,
Yeah.
right? Like I be
Yeah.
like,
It's just,
I can tell y'all what to do. Y'all just gotta
it's
stop being scared
real.
to do it. Like, um,
It's
I
real.
know. I really do think Jupiter and Gemini gave a nod to what's going to happen with Uranus in Gemini,
In
right?
Gemini,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, yeah. And especially
Yes.
why Pluto is in Aquarius because Uranus rules Aquarius. So there's like a connection
Yep.
there.
Yep.
And I think I know I think it's an episode after Uranus and Gemini that we're doing Jupiter and Cancer, and it's gonna
Right.
highlight a lot about like housing and nurture and getting back to
Patriotism.
self.
And
So
patriotism.
yeah, crazy. Um,
Other things that I have, I'm just looking at my notes. Land back,
yes, yes. What
land
does that
back.
mean?
Definitely we're already seeing it actually.
Hmm.
We've seen how multiple countries in Africa are removing their colonizers and not letting them take resources or trade their resources. Removing French as a primary language.
Hmm.
um a lot of indigenous peoples have
Oh,
gotten parts of land back,
yeah. What you said
even
was
if it's
correct.
water.
You said something about friends who have to reap what they sowed, or like they would get their get back, or they like people get their lick back, and it's starting to happen because
It's
like
starting.
it's starting, and like more push about Haiti, getting paid from France, and then these other African countries, and then one of them is it one of the Guineas that speak French, but their French is evolving into like a French African mix or dialect mix,
Mm.
and like the
Mhm.
French people are mad about it. I'm like, that's language. Language evolves. Like you should never snip.
Shouldn't have even been there, so
Okay,
moving
be for
on.
real. And so you were correct about like France is going to have to.
Can't wait to
Yeah,
see what bullshit they make up
I
to
mean
not
their
pay
their government
Haiti,
is already
because
failing multiple times.
it's
So
gonna keep happening. And I had one more thing in here. Oh, I did mention this vaguely. Schools of liberation and thought will be coming up. Um,
that's when we.
Hence I think the HBCUs will be re-become and re-cement themselves as schools of liberation and thought, and we will see schools of liberation and thought through music. And I will say that through, we're already seeing this through Bad Bunny and Raul Alejandro tapping into cultural ancestral roots while also critiquing the government and colonization of Puerto Rico. And I think it will keep expanding because, once one person makes it very successful and hot, other people will have some shit to say. And so
Yeah,
I think
let me just
Neptune
go.
and Aries, protest music.
Let me tell you something. Let's go on say who else before people in the comments be like, you forgot Beyonce. Yes, Beyonce included. Cowboy Carter. Yes. Although, and I love that her fans are also critiquing her and how she has kind of moved with some of
Yeah.
the stuff. I was like, ooh.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, well, that is kind of the point. Mike Phil. But I'm like, y'all, that's the point of Cowboy Carter. For you to get into the history, she's not the liberationist. She's the one to spark the idea and bring the history to
Yeah.
format. Stop being mad at that lady because y'all want her to be your Angela Davis. That's not what she's put on this earth for. Get over it.
Nope.
You know? I think we talked about yesterday
And
with the school of thought was how things are going more personal. So for academia is getting
oh
attacked
yes.
and being like eating itself up. And so now we've been seeing people with the more personal curriculums and learning how to really study what they really want. And we kind of talked about how a lot of the bars are doing like the lectures by other
Mm-hmm.
experts are coming in and be like, yeah, you know like let me learn you something while you sit here and eat your food, and
Right.
I think we're
The
seeing more of
seeking
that.
of knowledge. I think the seeking of knowledge in an interpersonal level will also feed this Neptune and Aries revolt of the people. Um, and I'm looking forward to it. I think first it's going to be in places where it's like, I'm gonna go sit in a bar in Manhattan. But I think when the right people are in the room, we bring it back home.
Yeah, it's more communal. We're more outside. It's more
Yeah.
palatable. You know what I'm saying?
Community is already being discussed. I think the activation of community is what Neptune and Aries is really going to bring.
Right. There you have it, folks.
Is that is that all? That's what we got.
Yeah. So
We got through.
yeah, yeah. So let us know anything that we missed. Because like I
Or
said,
thoughts.
yeah, because we yapped yesterday and tried to. But we here. Stay tuned. Next episode will be the week after with the 14th,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the Uranus and Gemini episode. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so stay tuned for that. And
We're
yeah,
coming.
yeah, yeah. Spirit been on our neck, and we like, all right, let's go do this.
We gotta get to work.
Okay.
So let us know your thoughts. Talk to us. Share with a friend. Tell a homie. Talk to us. And we will see you next time, y'all. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening to us yapping. And if you got any facts of wherever you are from, tell us
Mm-hmm.
in the comments, on the Twitters, on the whatever is you on. We be on
Spotify,
Bluesky,
Blue
Instagram,
Sky, IG.
Spotify, even if they raggedy. IG and YouTube.
Mm-hmm. All right, y'all.
Holla at us.
Bye.
Have a good night.